this bothering me. I've got these things over my hearing aids. It's actually quite good. I can hear well. If I didn't take my hearing aids out, I just put these things
Welcome to Caching in the Northwest. Did you know this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest? Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're waiting for your baked goods to cool, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Well, of course, that means it's time to bring in our traveling tamarind. You know, some say he's so sunny, he's blamed for global warming, and others say he's more persistent than my latest rash. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hey. And I believe there's an ointment for that. All right. Hey, tonight we are talking about planning a GeoTour vacation with our friends, the Landsharkz. Landsharkz, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
It is going well. It is going fantastic. We are delighted to have you guys on the show. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, doing really well.
Awesome. It's Thursday night. It's great. And as of noon today, I was no longer on call. So
that's very cool.
Just,
enjoy the freedom.
Yeah.
As of noon yesterday, I am on call for the next week, so it's my turn.
So sorry, Jim.
I'm next week apparently.
It just rotates through.
Yeah, clearly. Okay.
Duh.
Plan that better. All right. Well, you know what? This is the point in the beginning of the show where what we love to do is give you guys all a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. Thanks to those guys, the Landsharkz, our corporate Denali level sponsor. The latest special from Landsharkz is the How to Puzzle Cache book and supplement. We have had Cully Long on the show a little while ago, and remember, those are some great updates to the book. So if you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website.
Nice. And it's time also, as we do each and every week, for our glow. What is a glow? It's not just the brightness of a lamp. It's the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a field recording to caching or feedback at CachingNW.com. You can call into our on-call phone line, right? Whoever's on call is going to be answering that one. That's 253-693-TFTC, or use the voicemail tool on the website and show us how you glow.
That's right. And this week's glow came in from Veronica. Let's see. I think I still have a glow thing. Here we go. Look at that. The glow says, my name is Veronica, the smart couple, and I would love to submit a group of logs for a particular cache we had a lot of fun trying to complete. Enjoy the chuckle. The log reads, the Canadians have invaded. We get that every Thursday night. We yelled, FTF, let's grab it. Little did we know it would be a 2-day adventure. Day 1. 8 of us in one hotel room. You could smell the smoke from the lobby. Paper was flying. Scribbles were everywhere. After a night, 1 a.m., of approximately 20 different calculations, ciphers, and combinations with the 81 letters, we messaged the cache owner. First message from cache owner was, what were we doing-ish? We just had to think backwards instead of what we were doing. We called it a night and started fresh on day 2. The team went out to grab a coin, and I was super sick and decided to come back early. After a good sleep and getting over acute sickness, I worked on the puzzle again. I will take full responsibility of messing up one number, which messed up the whole puzzle. Cache owner got a good chuckle. After recalculating and converting from Canadian to U.S., we found our coordinates. It was an amazing feeling when you finally get the right coordinates. We laughed when we plugged in the new waypoint and made it to ground zero. It's a tough find in the dark, hint didn't take us to where we were all thinking. Stay on the side of the last parking spot and you will be fine. Cache Hyde is 8 meters off with a cell phone from ground zero. Be careful as there's a lot of trash around. This was a lot of fun. So proud we have the FTF. Took the team about 6 hours to complete the puzzle and 30 minutes spent at ground zero.
Wow. That's quite the investment in time.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Sounds
Wow.
like a fun story, though. Fun adventure. And thank you very much, Veronica from the Smart Couple, for sending that
Yeah.
in.
She must be the smart part of it since she solved it.
I would say.
Yes.
I don't know the smart couple.
She's the responsible part because she accepted responsibility for the initial error. So good for her.
And she's the glow badge part because she submitted the glow.
Ah,
Aha.
she gets the glow badge.
Nice. Hey, folks, we want you to be part of the conversation tonight because it's so much more fun when you are. If you want to add to tonight's chat, just use the hashtag vacay in the live chat. And of course, if you want to add anything for the after show, perhaps you're hosting an event for Leap Day. Isn't that coming up? Use the hashtag FTAS. That's for the after show. And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Awesome. Well, hey, we got a little bit of news here. I'm gonna do the GeoWoodstock Giga Countdown in a moment, but I want to remind folks, if you haven't seen it already, there is a Going Ape survey. They're looking for information to help them decide exactly what's going to happen at the event. So check out the after show. We'll have all the details on how to find that survey in the after show. If you haven't heard of the after show, the FTAS, once we finish the regular part of this show and we do the credits, then we will actually still keep talking and recording, and we'll get into stuff that isn't maybe in the core of what we're talking about today, but all kinds of other stuff. So that's right. The survey link will be discussed. Hashtag FTAS.
Oh, and we can hardly wait.
All right. So in the meantime,
Yes.
GeoWoodstock Giga Countdown time. We are down to 273 will attends are left.
Woohoo!
So if you've got friends who are coming to GeoWoodstock or pretty seriously planning to come to GeoWoodstock and they haven't logged their will attend yet, you go knock on their door right now. We'll wait. Just go.
We'll pause the podcast. Go knock on their door.
I'll just put it in your Walkman and take it over there.
Oh, okay.
Even better. Use your Walkman.
We need a sound effect for that, don't we?
What's that?
The Giga Countdown.
Ooh, yeah, we should.
A special bell when we get there.
Ooh,
Yeah.
there'll be a special bell when we get there.
There'll be hooting and hollering.
I have
Yeah.
that. That doesn't sound very special.
No.
We'll come up with something better than that. That's
Oh,
for sure.
you dingaling.
But we're getting close. 273 will attends left. Man,
Wow.
that's exciting.
That is exciting. I should go delete mine so I can be the one that makes Gotiga. No.
Please, people,
No.
don't delete
No.
your will attend.
Don't delete
That is
that.
actually
No.
counterproductive.
Yes, do not do that. Do not follow Witsen's example.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, we've rambled and read glows and all kinds of fun stuff, but we should really get to our patient guests. They're over there, I think, if I'm
Yep.
figuring out this quad thing. Yeah, there they are. Welcome back, Landsharkz. Now, for any of our listeners who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, seeing you on a podcast, whatever, why don't you tell people who you are, where you're from, and how you're connected with all of us crazy jokers?
How did we connect with you guys?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I blame Jay.
Yeah, I blame Jay too.
Probably
I
Jay.
blame Jay as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a scapegoat.
I'm okay. Pretty broad shoulders. I get blamed for everything around here.
Yeah.
So our geocaching name is Landsharkz, and we cache as a couple with the same caching name. We live in Victoria, BC.
Her name's Helen and I'm Chris.
Yeah, that too. We've been geocaching since summer of 2005, and we just found our 6,000th geocache in the desert in Arizona. So
Well, congratulations on that one.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
We have a geocaching business, or we have a business that supports geocachers. We have products that we sell online, and we've been doing that since very early 2006. We noticed that there wasn't a lot of products for Canadian geocachers, And so we own a graphic design company, which we had already doing graphics for BC Parks. And we decided to come up with some products and put them online and come up with some coins. And this rest is history.
It really is. I mean, you've made quite an impact on the BC caching community. So thank you very much.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully
thanks.
positive. Thank you very much.
Now, one of the things I've learned about you over the years is that you don't stay still for very long. For example, you go to Arizona for a 6,000 cache find. I mean, just because.
We were on our way home from Palm Springs, and that was on our way home from a Caribbean cruise.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up the question of how many different countries have you geocached in so far?
We're only at 45.
Only.
Yeah. That's okay. There's lots more places to go.
There is.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So of those 45, now we didn't prep you for this question, but I'm curious. Do you happen to know how many of those 45 have geocaching souvenirs?
Ooh.
Ooh,
Most of them, but there's definitely some that don't.
not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah. The Vatican just got one the other day.
Yeah, the
That was
Vatican.
kind of cool.
That was neat to get a souvenir retroactively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we get Monaco? Was there one from Monaco?
There was one from Monaco.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Albania. I don't think Albania has one.
Okay.
And most of the Caribbean countries, they don't have them either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still count as a country, even though you don't have a souvenir as of yet.
It still lights the map, and then when the souvenirs come out, they just pop up because you've already found one there. So that's kind of cool.
And if you look on Project GC, which I was looking there, playing around with it, we just got a premium membership recently, and it's having all sorts of fun there. But it says we have 47 countries. And I'm guessing, I haven't delved into it or asked anywhere else. I'm sure Roy would know the answer, but I think it's because of maybe something like locationless caches that we might have found that were created in somewhere like Australia or somewhere else. So I suspect that because we started, we've had 11 location lists before they were archived when we were brand new cachers. And I think a couple of them might be what has thrown that out. But 45 is the number that we're sticking with.
Well, at 45 or 47, you're about 25% of the way through all the countries in the world. There's 195.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it that way. There's a couple that don't have. There's a couple that don't have caches though. I'm not going to go to North Korea just right now.
Oh, okay. Not yet.
No.
Give them some time.
Yeah.
So guys, what drives your passion and your interest in traveling to 45 or 47 plus countries?
Well, I think mine started when I was a little girl in Scotland. I had a book. It was all about, I was a little girl in Scotland. And my mom gave me this book all about different countries in the world. And when we emigrated to Canada when I was 9, I actually brought it with me, and I still have it to this day. And it's every 2 pages is about a new country. And I remember back then thinking, well, I want to go to those places. One day I want to go there. And it was always encouraged that traveling was a great way to get out and, learn about other cultures and have a new appreciation for other people and for the environment. Yeah.
So I was born in the UK, and we used to travel back, every few years to visit family and stuff. So I've traveled all my life, and I think the more you travel, the more you find it interesting to explore other places and the cultures and the people. And I think it's also really healthy. I think it's good because when you experience other cultures, you can empathize a little bit with other people and you get a sense of what they're like and be a little bit more empathetic is really the thing with other cultures and other, even within your own country. Sometimes I think it's good to experience them. And
yeah, you're not just reading about it in the news or reading about it in the magazines. You're actually going there and seeing for yourself firsthand, and you're talking to the locals and really get an appreciation for the world.
So all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Those are some really good reasons.
Absolutely. One of the ways you can go see stuff now, maybe some motivation if you needed another reason to go someplace, is a GeoTour. And in the past several years, there have been more and more GeoTours coming about. Mm-hmm. I've never actually done one, but we've talked about it on the podcast, and maybe some people listening that haven't even heard of them. Can you maybe give us a nutshell description of a GeoTour for some of our listeners?
Sure. Well, it's usually it's organized by a local tourism organization or something like that. and they will hide or work with somebody to hide a series of geocaches. They're usually very good quality geocaches within an area. And I think the maximum they can do is 150 per GeoTour, but usually they're a lot less than that. And we can talk a bit about that later. But it's then what happens is the tourist organization actually pays geocaching.com a little chunk of cash, and they partner with geocaching.com. So geocaching.com then publishes this tour, if you like, as a series of geocaches. You get a souvenir when you're finished, a digital geocaching.com souvenir when you find all of them. And usually what will happen is there's maybe a passport system or something like that. When you find a cache, you'll stamp it or write down something that's inside the geocache, an answer to a question. And then the organizers often have a geocoin or some other similar thing that they will give you as a little thank you for visiting their area and doing the GeoTour.
And geocaching.com often also gives them marketing, so that depending on how much they pay, they get, a shout out on social media, or they all get there's like a web page. When you go to the map of the GeoTours and you click on one, it'll bring up the web page for that GeoTour, which gives you more information about the region, maybe a link to their own website. So they're getting quite a bit of marketing from geocaching.com as well. They put it in newsletters and things like that, help to bring people out to there. So they're helping them with their investment to recoup on it.
So they end up becoming actually a very good tourist draw for geocachers. And, yeah.
Nice. Now, what is it about GeoTours that you are looking for when you're going traveling?
What are we looking for?
What are we looking for?
We look for one that's doable. Let's start with that.
Yeah, we research to make sure it's doable. We really like to finish the entire GeoTour, find all the caches, get the souvenir, tick it off. That's done. Otherwise, it feels like it's partly done.
Well, it is.
Well, for us, it's partly done if we don't get the souvenir. For other people, they're happy if they maybe just get a few of them and get the pin or coin. But we'll get into that later. We look for ones that are in really cool areas, places we'd like to go visit. We look for a GeoTour that we can do during the allotted time. So if we only have a weekend or a long weekend, then we're realistically not going to go to Gold Country that's got 150 caches and hope to complete it. But we would go down to Bonneville. We'd come to Tacoma area. You've got Valley Cities, I believe, there. We haven't gone there yet. We'd go to the Olympic Peninsula because we can plan a whole holiday weekend with maybe a couple extra days, and we can finish the GeoTour and have some time to visit the businesses. So we look for one that we can complete, we can enjoy, we can support the local economy, and we don't have to, cash until midnight, every day. We can enjoy ourselves as well.
Yeah. What she said.
There you go. It makes a lot of sense. I would agree with a lot of the things you've said on that. So let's take the scenario. You found a GeoTour that interests you, meets all those criteria. So let's dig into this. How does the planning start for you guys in order to travel and enjoy that experience?
I think the best way to, we'll go through a few things, but most of the things that we're going to bring up, I think, are things where we've made mistakes. And so you're learning from experience, and we're learning from experience. We've done quite a few, and they've been all over the world. And I guess the first thing is to make sure that they're doable. So not only do we look to see how big they are and what sort of area they cover, we'll look at the terrain ratings. We'll read some of the logs, make sure that people are capable of doing them within a sort of, if we're there for a weekend or we're there for 2 days or 3 days, whatever, that it's sort of doable in that time frame. We'll also have a look and make sure that they're all there, because if they're temporarily disabled, and you can't find it, then you can't get the souvenir unless you actually find every single geocache. So we'll check on the condition of the caches, and we actually, there's a Florida, what was the one called in Florida? Did you remember?
Taking Flight.
It was on the Gulf
near Tampa.
Yeah, near
south of Tampa.
Near the coast. And we went there thinking we could do the whole thing, but in actual fact, there were 2 caches on that thing. They're not advised for tourists to do. And in fact, we couldn't get to them. You need to rent a boat for one of them.
And one
of
was
a long
a
hike
significant
through the alligators.
long hike through an area with alligators. They wanted you to have a guide.
So we kind of did all the others and then realized there's no way on earth we're going to finish this thing. So we enjoyed the place anyways, but it was a bit of a letdown for. We probably would not have gone had we done that research ahead of time, but probably would have done another one somewhere else.
Yeah.
But anyways,
one of the things I do is I put all the caches on the GeoTour on our watch list. And so I'm watching for things that might be coming up. And if I see that one's, a bunch of DNFs, and then they temporarily disable it, and then does it take them weeks to go out and fix it up, or are they getting out there quickly? So, and I have emailed GeoTour owners and actually said to them, we're coming out, we're going to be in the area. If you'd like, we can help you fix that one up if you need some assistance.
Or just to make sure that they are sort of maintaining them. If there's one that's not so good or having a hard time, you guys going to be out there fixing that, because we're going to be coming and we'd really like to be able to do the whole thing. And, we'd certainly be thinking twice about it if you're not going to bother fixing it. And, but they've been, for the most part, they've been pretty good.
Yeah, they're welcoming tourists. That's why they're doing it. Another thing, a really good thing to do, is this the right answer for the right question?
Yeah.
What was the question again? No, a really good thing to do is print off the passport before you leave home. Because we have expected a tourist office to be open on a Tuesday when it's supposed to be open according to their hours posted, and they were closed because they'd worked at a festival on the weekend, and so they'd actually just been allowed to close on Tuesday, and we were there Tuesday looking to pick up the passport to start the GeoTour, and we hadn't printed it off. So we print off passports now. And
we did get one at the municipal hall next couple of doors down. That was in Switzerland, where of course the language is a really easy thing for us to deal with, and so trying to communicate what you're doing to it was interesting. But we got a passport and did that one. The other thing is make sure or we look ahead at the area and see whether or not there's cell phone reception in that area, or if it's spotty, because we've certainly ended up in places where there's very limited reception, and so you want to download your caches for offline use, however you're doing that, whichever app you're using or whatever. And the other thing is you want to have a look at the hints and things like that, because the goal here is to find these geocaches, and usually they're not intended to be super, super hard. But we did a GeoTour in Fully, it's called Fully. It's spelled Fully, but it's called Fully, in southern Switzerland. And no, that's not the one. It was, the one in Tuscany. Just hop over to Tuscany. The hints were all photos. They had photo hints. So we'd actually downloaded all the caches, but I didn't bother downloading all the photos. Well, I should have downloaded the photos too, because the photos is where the hints were. And we didn't realize that until we went looking for help for like two that we couldn't find. So knowing where the hints are, downloading all the cache information when you don't have cell reception. If you're in the city, that's not so bad. But if you're going to be out a little bit, then that's another thing we do to prepare.
Yeah, we found that international GeoTours where the first language isn't English, they're not using the additional hints. And maybe it's because they've got them written in multiple languages, and what language would they put the hint in? So in the Ten Castellas, they had photo hints, and we did not know that until we couldn't find some, and we had no cell service. And so we were having to go back out to places twice, which was fine. Once we had it figured out, we're like, okay. And Fui had no hints and no photos. And so, but we managed to get into the tourism office on a day when they were open and say, hey, there's a couple we can't find. And they brought up the photos on their computer of where the hides were and showed us. So that was great. But they, for some reason, they weren't using the hint feature. So
the photo hints is a great idea, especially in a multi-language description.
Yeah, once you realize that's what's going on, it's awesome.
Yeah, I've never seen a photo in the hints before, so I wouldn't have thought to look for that myself.
Well, it's not in the hints, but it's in, like, if you download it's just in the cache photographs.
Oh, in the description.
Yeah, so the very first photograph, basically in the linked photographs, is a picture of where it is. Yeah, and so we look at the terrain, make sure that we're, going prepared. Like in Italy, we had one good hike to do, and we knew it going into it. So that was part of when we packed for the cruise, was to take, it was an interesting holiday because we had to pack for some, early fall and wet and
in addition to the cruise. So yeah, we had weird things our bags would have looked like.
Nothing like Hawaiian shirts, shorts, and hiking boots. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple of other
raincoats and-
GeoTours in Switzerland that we would have loved to have done, but they were like 35 caches and they were all hikes.
Ooh.
And that's just a totally different holiday. It would have needed a good week, and totally different gear, like hiking poles and, all the BC Adventure smart stuff that so we just bailed. We didn't even put that on a short list when we saw the type of terrain. Like, no, that's not happening.
Right. Well, and that's good to look ahead and know what you need. So you
Yep.
can look at a GeoTour and see what's going on.
And watch the logs, watch other people's logs. That's why I put them on a watch list so I can see, any tips, any tricks, or just any people saying that it's, it's 10 meters off, it's this, it's that, so it's good just to fill your database of all that kind of stuff to make it a little easier when you're on site with no cell service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now as you're traveling about and, you've mentioned GeoTours in other countries, perhaps it's just a couple hour drive from home even. Where do you choose to stay, to eat, and get around when you're doing these trips that involve GeoTours?
Well, we, it's fairly easy to figure out where to stay. So that's one thing we do plan ahead of time is where we're staying usually. So we often stay in Best Westerns if there is one nearby, and we collect points so that kind of helps with future Best Western stays. Not that this is a promo for Best Western or anything, but but that's kind of what we look for those, and then the other things we'll do is we'll look for Airbnb places that are nearby, and especially if they're recommended by or hosted by some of the owners of the GeoTour, which has happened.
Yeah, that happened in Italy. The host of the GeoTour, the lady actually would help with the hiding. She recommended some accommodation, and it was outstanding. We were staying in a farmhouse that was, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. It was amazing, and there's olive groves and persimmon trees. It was quite beautiful. And the other thing we do, one thing we do is we try and support the local economy. So when we're going out to eat, we will do our best to support the local businesses so that they're benefiting from the tourism, because that's the idea of the GeoTour. So we shop in local grocery stores. Chris will go to a local barber if he needs to. We buy baked goods from the local bakery and go to a butcher for, we did that in Switzerland. We went to the village and we went to all the local, we'll go to craft markets, we'll go to farm stalls. We just try and, give back and make sure that some of our tourism dollars are staying in the hands of the locals.
That's one thing we do not plan ahead of time though, is we know we're going to be able to find food. And so maybe just a little bit of the local currency, but really it's, if we enjoy experiencing different types of foods and different types of places. So yeah, we get there and we just look around and see what's available. We
eat out a little, but if we're staying in an Airbnb, we can usually cook, and that keeps the prices down. And it also, I think it's better use of our time. So than sitting in restaurants waiting to be served, and we can just have a relaxing meal, and it's at our wherever we're staying, and have a glass of wine, and we're not having to pay to, pay corkage, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So we do cook a lot actually when we're in some places. If we can, we'll cook meals, easy ones, but keeps it simple and more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easier if you're doing Airbnb as opposed to hotels, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Tuscany, actually, when we were in that place, we're lucky the place actually had a gas stove and a fireplace, and it was kind of needed because one day it was raining. There were really bad storms. It was raining so hard and really, really windy, and power went out for almost a full day. So we had fireplace going and we're cooking on the gas stove.
Nice.
And candles everywhere, but it was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Romantic.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just going to shout out. We've had some great questions coming in from the listeners. Listeners, we hear you. We see everything coming in on the chat. We're going to get to your questions. We're queuing them all up, and we just have a couple more questions we're going to do with the sharks, and then we're going to get to all of your questions. So keep your questions coming. They're fantastic, and we really appreciate it. So I know normally we interrupt the flow and just jump in with your questions, but we're just going to move them to the end this time. So
This time.
Stay tuned. We hear ya. We're going to get to your questions. And one of my questions, which I think is probably a question a lot of our listeners have, because, we're all geocachers, we're kind of curious about your navigation. So what app or apps or devices do you use for geocaching navigation when you're traveling? Do you use a GPSR, and are there any special considerations that need to be made for your apps or tools that you're going to use?
We do usually bring a GPS, but I'm finding that we're not using it as much. It's more of a backup. We tend to have everything downloaded on our phones, and I use the geocaching app or GC Droid, and Chris uses
I'm a
Cachly.
huge fan of Cachly. I just can't do anything else.
Yeah, he loves Cachly, and so it's nice to have a bit of both, and that usually holds us well.
Very cool.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Cachly as well. And if you download everything ahead of time, as you just said, you don't need data when you get there, or you can get.
That's right. And actually their premium membership or premium version of Cachly is like $3 or something like. It's pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
For maps, yeah. So, and the maps are really good, and they're for all over the world. So you can download the map along with for wherever you happen to be going. So that's really good. The other thing is Cachly has a good filtering system on it. So if you're on a GeoTour, usually the GeoTours will have something common in the name, like it'll be 10 Costella's GeoTour or whatever, and then the name of the cache or something like that. And so what you can do is if you filter by the name, then it just pops up with all you have is the GeoTour caches. So that's super handy too.
Mm-hmm. That's handy because I get distracted. I go, oh, well, there's one right over here and there's another one right over here. And it may run out.
But you got this time frame and you got this goal, right? So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, now, it's nice because between the iPhone and the Android, we've got different maps, but they're complementary, so they kind of support each other. Mm-hmm. So if I have a trail, he might not, or he has a trail, I don't. We can, it's nice to kind of got the best of both worlds.
Now, when you go out and do this, now you've got your GPS or phones loaded up and ready to go. Do you do a lot of planning ahead of time? We're going to, do this in a clockwise manner, or we're going to take this path, or you just kind of see how things fall out when you get there?
We see how things fall out when we get there. It's kind of, okay, where are we staying? What's nearby? What sort of makes sense? And you start going down that route, and then you decide you're hungry. Or something like that. So you go for lunch and you realize, okay, well, maybe we could go do these ones first because they're nearer. And the other thing is weather and light. So you might be failing the light. So you kind of go until you can't really go anymore. And then you save, so you never know where you're going to end up, but you got a new starting place the next morning and you're not where you were if you would have continued in a loop. The weather was
the weather in 10 Costella's was just phenomenal. We had the worst weather they had all year for that 5 days that we were there. But the other thing we do is we will pack picnics. So we'll take off and we've got a bag of trail mix and granola bars and hard-boiled eggs and, crackers and cheese and things like that. So we go with food. So if we find that we're way out in the middle of nowhere and it's, time for a snack or a meal, we're self-sufficient usually all day.
When we were doing the 10 Costella's GeoTour in Tuscany, the rain. It was rain. We were there for, I think, total of 3 days or something like that, and it was 5. Well, we were there. We were there for a few days.
Time. We were there for a long time,
and it was pouring down rain. So what we would do is we would. There were times when we'd come out of an area, and then they were closing the roads off. The police were closing the roads off because of flooding, and then you couldn't get back in there. So that would obviously throw a loop into your loop, and then there was one which was a couple which were a hike, and it was quite a good little hike up a hill for maybe an hour.
There was three caches, and it was about an hour each way, I think.
So we were putting them off until the weather was a bit better, and then on the last day, oh thank goodness the weather's a little bit better. Well, that stopped about 20 minutes into the hike, and the weather turned really bad again, and it was just coming down in torrents. And they're going, oh my goodness, what the heck am I doing? But of course, you trudge through and carry on. But we were walking down this stream in the mud.
This trail that turned to a river, and it was pretty phenomenal. But in a way, it wasn't a lot different than BC sometimes, except that we didn't have hiking poles. We didn't have all of our waterproof. We didn't have our gaiters. Waterproof pants. We had holiday hiking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But made the best of it, and then hung everything on the chair by the fireplace when we got back. And That was
So
okay.
yeah, the loop and the route and everything we figure out on the fly.
Yeah, we definitely figure it out once we get there.
I was going to say, you've got that wonderful fireplace. Just hang things in front of it and they'll be
That's
dry
right.
tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we made good use of that for drying stuff out and roasting chestnuts.
Oh.
Over an open fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any GeoTour we've ever done a route before we've gone. We get on site and then we, check it all out and go, okay, this is how we should, plan this.
Nice. Well, do you have any last thoughts about planning for a GeoTour?
I think one thing to keep in mind is that very often the organizers of the GeoTours are not geocachers themselves. It's somebody who's running a tourist organization and heard about geocaching, or maybe they were approached by a geocacher and said, hey, you could set up a GeoTour and here's kind of what you do. And they say, oh, that's a good idea. Can you help me do that? And they say yes, and they go on and they set it all up. Very often it's very well done, but the people that are organizing the tour, or the people who are hosting it as such, they don't really understand geocaching. They think you're there for the coin or the pin, and very often you are, but they don't understand that you're maybe also there for the digital souvenir. And so we actually, the Mesa GeoTour that we just completed is a case like this.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago. It was all there, all the caches were good, and then there was one cache that was temporarily disabled just as we were getting there. It's like, oh no.
Like that morning, the day before it was okay. When we were at the UM Mega, it was fine. And the next morning we get to Mesa and there's a cache disabled. And we're like, no.
So we talked to the host and the tourist place, and they gave us the pin before we even started. As a thank you for showing up. It wasn't the coin. It's like, oh yeah, here, have the pin anyway. And then they basically said, oh, well, yes, we understand that this one's not there right now. So some people are just would log, what some people might do is log a found it and then change it to a DNF. We're not really into doing that. And then they said, maybe, you'll get your pin. In fact, here's your pin, and the souvenir thing. Well, we don't really understand that, but that's geocaching.com's problem. And we're thinking, what on earth? Like that's we're here for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So we ended up
the cache owner. They'd been in touch with him, and they misunderstood. They thought he wasn't coming back for a week and a half, but he was actually back in town that day, and he fixed up the cache right away. But they were telling us, oh, it won't be fixed up for a week and a half. And they offered, it was really quite hilarious. They said, if you want, we can print off the digital souvenir for you so you can see what it looks like.
Well, thank you. I'll just stick that on my monitor.
Yeah,
that was funny.
I'll hold it up every time I'm scrolling through my souvenirs. I'll hold it up and count that one too.
Got one more. I promise.
So yeah, I guess.
But we finished that one. That was it was.
And then the other ones where people they think you're there for the coin. They don't always totally understand it. So I think it would be fair to say you want to be somewhat cognizant of that. You want to be sympathetic to them, that they don't necessarily know everything about it. Certainly, you don't want to get upset at them if something's going wrong, because it's not really they don't really understand.
Right.
And so that's just good to keep in the back of your mind. I think that these people they're trying. They're working with somebody, but they're not always the ones that are going to go out and fix a cache if it's not there and stuff like that.
There you go. Some good advice.
Good point.
Now we've asked our loyal listeners and the active chat group to hang tight, and now it's your chance. Now it's your time, guys. We're going to get to your questions right now. Greenwords has a question for you, Landsharkz. They are planning a trip to Newfoundland, and they're wondering, A, where should they start with their planning? And B, are you guys planning a trip there?
Well, we've already lit up Newfoundland, so it's not imminent.
Well, so this is how the trips get planned.
Well, that's part of it.
It's where haven't we been? Yeah. Where can we light up? Where haven't we been?
Or sometimes we're in an area and there's a GeoTour there.
Newfoundland, you went to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
On business.
I've been to Newfoundland many times, usually on business always, or when I was in the Navy. What would I be doing to plan that? I would be looking initially at whereabouts do I want to be? Do I want to stay in the St. John's area? Do I that kind of thing. I do know that in Newfoundland, if you're not just staying in St. John's, really in a close, tight area, you'll want to rent a car because most places are kind of spread out from that. It's a very, very rugged terrain out there.
They've got a pretty avid caching community. So if you can find like a Facebook group or something online, you could say, hey, I'm coming to visit. We were encouraged a lot to go there and like drive around the rock. We've never done that, but supposedly if you've got lots of time, it might be a fun thing to do. Yeah.
We like to base as much as possible anyway, base ourselves in one spot and then go out from there. And then if you're gonna travel around there and you got enough time, base yourself in one spot for a while, then base yourself in another spot, maybe with a hotel or Airbnb. But that way you can unpack and you can come back and you can just flop on the bed and you don't have to like pack up, leave everything in the car until check-in in the next place and that kind of thing. So if you can base yourself in one place, that's really good. Yeah, hopefully that.
Yeah, adding to that, Dora Moore, who has not too long ago been in Newfoundland doing some geocaching, said Gros Morne National Park has a coin challenge. And actually, many of the Canadian national parks have geocoin challenges. So they're not technically a GeoTour, but you can earn a geocoin by finding caches in their parks. So she says this one is 4 or 5 hikes in Gros Morne National Park to earn a coin. So there you go. Something else to put on your list.
Yeah, and the national parks, the geocaches that are in the national parks are actually managed by the rangers and so on. So they actually do know what's going on with the geocaching there.
Excellent. Yeah, I've done the Gulf Islands one, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Cape Breton Highlands National Park used to have a geocoin challenge. I don't know if they do anymore, but they had one there in Cape Breton a few years ago.
There you go, Keats. Are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
That one's for you.
Yeah, speaking of Keats, he says, oh, how I'd love to do a geotour in Scotland.
Oh, yeah, Dundee. Yeah. It's in Royal Deeside, and I'd like to do that one day, too.
My wife is from Scotland, so that's on our bucket list of places to go.
Cool.
There's an avid community there, and there's lots and lots of trails of caches on some of the local walks. They call it a walk, but it'll take you 3 days.
It's a walk. It's just a long walk.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
In Australia, they call it a walkabout, but it's the same thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Keats also added he was supporting the comment of know what the hours are at the place that has the geocoins. Don't be like him.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Not only do you want to know what the hours are, you want to make sure that they're there, even if the hours are within their hours. And you want to give yourself time. Like if you give yourself 2 days and you're thinking I'm going to complete in 2 days, make sure you've given yourself enough time while they're open in order to kind of wrap it up. So if you may need to stay till next morning to catch the place before you leave or something like that. But yeah, you want to make sure your estimated completion time doesn't, overlaps with their open time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for the passport at the beginning and for the geocoin at the end.
Yeah.
Well, and as we all heard, print your passport off first before you go.
Yes.
So.
It's good to have a backup printed version.
Often the ones that they have though there are nice. They're maybe gorgeous. A little bound book and stuff. So it is much nicer usually than it's something you print off and fold up into a million pieces and stick in your pocket.
That's true, but if you start off early in the morning before they open, having your printed.
Then there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Usually, I like to start at the farthest point and work back to the finish where we have to pick up the coin. It's easier, if you have your printed copy with you.
Definitely.
We like to as Helen was saying, support the local economy too. So we not that we don't start early in the morning. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But we'll definitely be looking for places to stop for lunch, and we take our time and enjoy the place. It's because usually these are places that the local tourist organization has kind of highlighted as some of the nicest places to see in the area. So we take it, we kind of take that to heart and actually spend a little bit of time looking around.
Very cool. We also had some feedback from Kitty Cat. She said the geotours in Hamburg took me too long and I didn't get to finish them. Those tricky gadget caches took me a while to get done. So again, that seems somewhere where you do some planning ahead, watch previous logs. Now, of course, they'd all be in German, so that would be a bit of a challenge. But
yeah, that's good to know.
Well, that is very helpful to know, Kitty Catch. Thank you for sharing that advice. Excellent.
Yeah, and that boils down to, I mean, people that organize the GeoTours. If you're trying to attract people from outside, they really a good GeoTour will be focused on something that people can get done in 1 or 2 days, so that you actually you can accomplish something.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, I'm going to use this question that just came in from Kitty Catch because it's a good lead into my last question for you guys. And it's, when are you coming to Australia? I'd love to help you organize a touring cruise.
We have a standing invitation to go visit and stay with a friend in Adelaide. And so we will. It's on our list.
Yeah. When? I don't know. It's not going to be in the next year and a half. I know that.
No, we've got some other trips in our sights for the next little while.
Right on. Well, I was just going to say, based on that comment, our question for you guys is, what adventures do you have in the works for the future? And can anybody come along and join you on those adventures?
Definitely.
Well, the first one, no.
The first one, no.
We're
going to the mainland tomorrow.
We're going to try and get that Richmond GeoTour completed.
It'll be our fourth visit to the mainland to try and do the Richmond GeoTour.
Yeah, that's nearby, so I guess that's okay. We're in April. We're going up to the high Arctic. We're going up to Yellowknife and Kugluktuk. We're going to light up. Well, we've already lit up the Yukon on our map, and we're going to light up Nunavut, which is our last.
And Northwest Territories.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we'll have
Canada.
All of Canada. And then this fall, we're taking a group on a cruise to Alaska right after GeoWoodstock, and there's still space on that. And then next February, so February 2021, we're doing a Panama Canal cruise all the way from Fort Lauderdale through to San Diego, stopping in Aruba and Panama and I think almost all the Central American countries on the Pacific coast side, and then up through Mexican ports and up to San Diego. So that's February.
And then a sneak preview at the next one we're looking at. We haven't told anybody this yet, but I mean, we'll just tell you three and you keep it quiet, okay? So we're actually doing a little bit of in-depth, an in-depth look now at a GeoTour that happens to be at the Brazil Ape Cache. And a trip down there would include Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina. And it wouldn't be a cruise. It would be
a land tour.
It would be a land-based tour, but that would be another one for people to sign up for and join us on.
That sounds pretty amazing as well. And
that would be a Landsharkz based tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. A Landsharkz land tour.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of great adventures coming up. So if people wanted to find out more about those, where should they go on the interwebs?
There's nothing about the Brazil one posted yet, but the other two cruises are on online at travel.landsharkz.ca.
Fantastic. All right.
Wow. Thank you so much. Such great information. And listeners, thank you for all your great questions. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you'll listen to more episodes of Caching in the Northwest in the future.
And of course, I want to take a moment to thank the Landsharkz, not only for being here tonight, but they are our corporate Denali level sponsor. Landsharkz.ca, that's with a Z, of course, is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online or go in person and visit their store in Victoria, BC, and pick up the latest special, which is the How to Puzzle Cache book and supplement. They're open 6 days a week. They won't be there tomorrow, except holidays. And they ship online orders daily.
Well, we'll be open tomorrow. We won't be there.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. And there was some in the chat about baked goods, so don't know anything about that.
We were giving away free Nanaimo bars the other day.
Last Friday.
Yeah.
Why didn't you email me one?
I bake during the podcast usually while I'm watching the podcast. I bake, and last week it was Nanaimo bars.
So we brought them into the office. And
I found out last week. There are several people that bake and cook during the show. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And this is now where we have a standing comment at this part of the show, which is please feel free to send any of your baked goods to either of the hosts. In fact, all of the hosts. And we will definitely celebrate your baked goods on the podcast.
Yes, I do not bake during the podcast.
Well,
no, it would be
at that point, I have to show Star
Oh, cool.
Captures brownies from last week. So, I said, "Oh, you made if you made baked goods, send me a picture," and he did. So
Yeah, he said photos or doesn't count. So here's a photo.
There you go. So I will say, don't send me a picture. Send me the baked goods.
yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. Well, hey, we also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landsharkz, JP's Geo Designs, Limax, Team Squirrel, and Groovy Owl. If you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website.
As these fine folks did, much like CRS 98,
Hacker Duck,
Kitty Quest,
Seebeck Tribe,
MC3 Cats,
Kid Vegas 19,
Team Noltex,
Broncos fan for life,
LG 9000,
Dora Moore,
GSM ×2,
Dick Magnet,
Wet Coaster and Greenwords,
Genies,
Kev MacD,
Alarobrick,
Fairwood West,
T Sayer,
and Teus,
Keats 94,
Bapendragon,
Segehove,
M Nerf,
Kennel Barb,
the Geo Travelers,
Highlands Guy,
Billy Robson,
and the Camp Clan,
GeoNav Pros,
Logwork,
Trexer Zero,
Winos Seattle,
Dune Buddy,
Boomer 365,
Sprouter.
and Subway Mark.
Nice. Thanks to all of them.
Yes.
And if any of them or any of you out there listening want to get in touch with people, Landsharkz, you already threw out a few contact places one last time. Where could people reach you?
Go ahead.
Landsharkz.ca is the easiest, quickest way. Links and all kinds of links to everything we do, all the social media and emails. So Landsharkz with a Z.ca.
Yeah, one-stop shop to contact the Landsharkz.
Yeah.
All right. Land Monkey, how about you?
Well, it's landmonkey.ca. We're going to keep the theme going here. It'll break at some point in time, I'm pretty sure, but we're going to keep it going for now. Landmonkey.ca. And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all those great social medias. It's LandMonkeyGC. And we've got tons of great content posted up there all the time. And got some new YouTube videos in the works. Those will be coming out shortly. But also, we've got the big book is coming pretty soon. So I've got the text all done and just working to get the formatting done with the publisher. And month of March, I'm expecting to have the book available. So that'll be the Geocacher's Guide to Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. Jim,
The home of GeoWoodstock.
sorry,
The home of GeoWoodstock.
the home of GeoWoodstock. How coincidental.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
Jim, where do people find you?
Well, you said something was going to break, and if you want something to break, I'm your man. Wits End on social media, geocaching stuff. No merchandise, no interesting content, not really much of anything, but that's where you can find me. Chris?
Let me tell you, if you need something fixed, Wits End is the guy to do it. I'm just saying.
Not elections.
Oh, well,
Except for election.
except for elections. Yeah, I'm thinking like a bumper. He's really good at that. If you're looking for me, you can find me on CA Ching NW or Caching NW. I just wanted to get on in the CA group. That's you can find me there. You can find me at Caching NW on Twitter, Facebook, Caching in the Northwest on Instagram. But better yet, head on over to cashingnw.com/hosts to read our bios, find contact info, and loads of interesting tidbits and trivia. Loads, believe me.
Loads. Just loads.
We want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. Call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or offer to go to the hardware store for us any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or a review. The show's produced by Chris Umpenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2020 by Chris Umpenauer. And folks, I ask you now to stay tuned for
The After Show. Gotta love that hardware store. Every 27th customer gets a ball peen hammer free.
Ooh.
So yeah, the comment, if you were wondering why Chris mentioned the hardware store, in our warm up before the podcast started, and I can't even remember how we got on this, but we were talking
There's no
about
telling how we get on things.
we were
No.
talking about and actually played a little bit of the Weird Al song "Hardware Store."
Okay.
So we were quite enjoying that, and then we commented on the fact. Well, I was informed of the fact that Wits End's son not only can sing along to that song, but pretty much knows the words and can keep up with the
Yeah.
pace of any Weird Al song.
So if there's any question that I raised him correctly.
Well done, my
Well
friend.
done. Well done.
All right. Hey, we said we were going to talk about it in the after show. Brylang has given us the hashtag FATAS Going Ape Planning Survey. So we'll drop that back in the show notes. Brylang had it in the, or not in the show notes, out of the show notes into the live chat. Brylang had it
There
in
it
the live
goes.
chat earlier. There it is again. So if you're curious about giving some feedback to the planners of the Going Ape 11 event or XI event, they're asking some questions. They'd like to get some ideas from people who are planning to attend as to what they'd like to do when they attend. So please check out that survey. Only takes a few seconds. Give them your feedback.
Nice. I'm not sure the reference to this, but it's funny enough. I want to read it from Dano. It says, I wore a bathrobe, carried a shower handle, and wore flip-flops. Coworkers named me the shower curtain guy. Very cold. You know, I don't think we need any reference to it. I think I'm just going to read it like that and move on.
That works. I'm good with that.
It's creating a visual that you might not want.
That's kind of how this podcast rolls, though.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Yeah.
We're all about what do you call those? Mind pictures? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental images.
Mental images for which you need brain bleach. Yes.
I go talk to my therapist tomorrow. He'll help me.
Yeah, we're kind of wondering about Christie's pajama breakfast event and some of the comments on some of the logs about what people wear or don't wear at night and what they're wearing or not wearing to the event. And we're like, oh my gosh. Chris is like, what should I wear? Is it something?
That's right. Yeah. If you're going to be on the island, Geo Travelers are having a jammy party Sunday morning. It's a GC 8 Kilo Foxtrot Tango
Mama.
Mike. Thank you.
Now, actually wear jammies, maybe not what you actually sleep in. Just saying.
Yeah.
So
they're mandatory.
Are the Geo Travelers then allowed to go to work in the jammies for the rest of the day?
On Sunday,
It's a Sunday, sure.
Yeah.
If they want to go to work on Sunday, they're welcome to go in their jammies.
Nice.
I was hoping it was on a Saturday.
No.
Okay, well, Christy, I tried. Let's see. Seebeck Tribe says the Leap Day event in Silverdale, Washington at 8 a.m. That's GC 8 Kilo Charlie 7 Alpha.
Very good. Start Casher has a brownies update for us here. He said,
Brownies.
Last week was my fudge brownies.
Yeah.
This week, I just got finished frying 2 pounds of American bacon. They're now in a bag in the freezer for snacks.
Is there any other
What's
kind of
American bacon?
I think he means not Canadian bacon. So
Bacon that
normal
comes
bacon.
from American
Oh,
pigs.
he just means bacon.
Oh,
Yeah. There's bacon and then there's ham.
is that like cheese, like American cheese?
I think so.
No, except that's not cheese.
That's not cheese.
It's like
we don't claim them.
spackle. It's like orange tinted spackle that they spread out or something.
I believe you can use it to hold your shingles down on your roof.
You probably use it for Bondo too.
Yeah.
Mm.
What
Bacon's
was
good,
the-
though. Bacon
What was
is
the
good.
last thing I saw? You take a cheese slice and throw it on your baby, and while you're filming it,
On the barbecue.
American
You can
cheese.
put them on the barbecue, cheese slices.
Oh
You have cheese races. You ever done that?
no!
You leave them in the plastic wrapper,
Mhm.
and they get on. You sit them on the barbecue, and everybody puts one on there, and of course, hope yours is going to last the longest. And then it expands and
And it
all
bubbles.
bubbles, and the cheese doesn't. The plastic doesn't melt initially because the cheese isn't going to go above boiling, right? So
Right.
it expands and it blows up, and then you got all these big like puff balls of melted
And they start
craft
to bounce
slices,
around.
and they start to bounce around, and then all of a sudden they start to explode, and then the last one left wins. It's called
That sounds
cheese
messy.
races. Look them up. It's
Cheese
fun.
race. Okay.
I'd follow that. I file that under what could possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
Hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll hold my own beer.
Only the problem is everybody's got a beer, so there's no room to hold your beer.
Oh, funny. You go into the emergency room, and how did you experience third-degree burns? Exploding grilled cheese.
GSM times 2 has a hashtag Fatas here. He's wondering if people have changed their leap day plans because of the badge gen badges and their enhancements for leap day, examples being cache types, cache sizes, etc. So curious, is that so? Anybody who's on the show tonight, any of you guys, have you?
I don't know what badge gen even means, so no, I haven't changed my plan.
No, from Jim. Okay.
I want to get other ones. I have not yet made plans. I've been busy in my personal life. But Wits End, we are going out on Saturday. I don't know if you know this. We're going to go out caching on Saturday. And we may do, a multi and some other things just to see if we can get those add-ons, as they're called, on Badge Gen. You'll get a February 29th add-on.
I am already planning an event. I have a breakfast event, I think. Yeah. There's a couple
on Saturday.
I have 4 events on Saturday that I just earmarked in my calendar. I don't think I'll make it to all of them, but yeah.
Well, it's a busy day.
I throw a lot of events on my calendar that I don't actually make it to, but I throw them in there in case I find the time.
So I actually did change up my plans for Leap Day in order to be able to get some of the enhancements and some of the add-ons. And we're going to have a very, very early start because we also have a late morning event that we're going to be at. And then we've got plans for the afternoon, and then we've got plans for the evening, so it's going to be a busy Saturday. But yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, we'll see you there.
You will.
For some of it.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a CETO by Team Noltex on Saturday.
There you go.
And Seaback Tribe just learned of them, but has a wedding in the late afternoon. So that means the happy couple only has an anniversary once every 4 years.
Yep. And Ravens Rock is in the chat. Hello, Ravens Rock. And she says, plan to get different cache types and different sizes of caches. There you go.
GSM times 2 posted his plans.
Yeah, I saw that. He's got
quite click on that, but in case you wanted to write that down, there's the link.
Well, if you're watching the show, you can on the replay, you can grab that from the live chat. All right, what else do we got? Nice. Brian Lang says that he's hosting an event. Well, he's co-hosting an event, but it's technically under his name. Then he's finding a challenge or 2, including a 5.5. Wow. A letterbox, a virtual, a 3.5, 4.5 to finish a DT loop, a where I go, a multi-cache, a large cache, and an earth cache, amongst others. Wow. He's going for all the add-ons.
Yes, he is. Wow.
This is something we haven't looked at. I don't think we should.
Sometimes ignorance is best.
Is better.
Yeah.
Badge Gen is now part of Project GC. So
on Project GC, when you look at your stats, and it has your thing of all your stats, one of the tabs is called Badge Gen, and when you look at that tab, it has all these badges to show your achievements that you've achieved during your geocaching career. And,
we have not looked at that tab. I wonder how we're doing.
There you go.
I didn't know it existed. So
it was a recent acquisition to Project GC.
Yeah. It used to be a GSAC macro you would run, but now it's actually built into Project GC, which is fantastic.
Oh, we use Max or not GSAC into GSAC, so that's maybe why we've not seen it and heard of it. Yeah, well, it sounds interesting. We'll have to look at it.
Or not.
Or not.
There you go.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, GSM times 2 says it's dangerous to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Kitty
not.
Catch wants to know, is that survey something I can share with local cachers who I know will be attending the ape event? Large bunch of Aussies heading your way. Yes,
Absolute
please
moment.
share that link. That's going to help the WSGA and all attendees. So please share that link.
Yep. And if you're looking for it as well, it's on the 2020 events Facebook page or Facebook group. So there's a 2020 geocaching events. It's got a really long name. I can't remember what it is off the top of my mind, but it's in that Facebook group. And you can point people to that Facebook group and the post that JT Coffee put up there.
There you go. And the president of the WSGA says, yes.
Yes.
Is
There you
that
go.
the Facebook group, like it's the Celebration 2020 Pacific Northwest group?
That's
Yeah.
the one.
Okay.
But if you just search Facebook for groups called 2020 Celebration, you will, and geocaching, you will find it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. And Chris Bruce says share. All right. Jim, do you want to take any of the FATAS stuff?
Let's see. Did we already discuss Braylang's
number
plans?
6.
Because he's really busy. But as I mentioned, there was talk of goodies at the Landsharkz store.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
just throw Highlands guy under the bus. He's the one that started it. Says, what type of goodies is Helen serving tomorrow? And GeoTraveler says, none. They're off to Vancouver, as you shared with us. So he told Christy to start baking. And Brightling says, which begs the question, what kind of goodies is Christy serving at the store tomorrow? And she says, no, she's off too.
She's off too.
So-
Yeah.
We have a skeleton staff of 2 at the store tomorrow.
She's got to
apparently-
find the right jammies to wear for the event.
Well,
Apparently a goodie-free staff.
yeah, I was going to say you got a skeleton staff, but clearly they're missing some skills. There's no baking going on.
Oh,
No,
they're capable.
I'm
They-
telling you,
they-
every time I've been to the store, there've been goodies.
that's true. You've been there. Yes. Every time you've been there, we've had goodies.
See, so it's kind of a thing, I guess.
The bar
Let us
is
know when you're coming back.
We'll make sure not to break the streak. Yeah.
That's just how I'll warn you. You can head to Vancouver again. No.
If we come down to go caching with you, we'll bring goodies. How's that?
Oh, wow.
That sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Sold.
They ship goodies 6 days a week. No.
Except holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been Nanaimo bars, isn't it?
Nanaimo bars.
Yeah.
What community are you in, Whitsend?
I'm in Tacoma.
Oh, we are, because the Valley what's it
Yeah,
called?
the Valley Cities tour.
That's it.
Tri-Cities, yeah.
It's-
Yeah, it's just north of Tacoma there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make our way down there
Northeast.
We'll make our way down there soon enough. Yeah.
Oh,
There
and
you
bring
go.
Nanaimo bars.
And bring Nanaimo bars. How's that?
there you go.
So,
Yeah.
Now people are going to be stalking you online.
where is he? Where are they?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. IHAM says, interestingly, I just looked at my badge gen and I have some of the Leap Day add-ons for my badges from 4 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah,
cool.
I had a couple.
Oh, we have to go look at this now. No.
I'm still afraid.
Kitty Catch is going for as many badges as she can. Good for her. That's awesome.
And of course, you know what we have to say, right? Badges?
Ah, okay.
We don't need no stinking badges.
I was
Badger.
wondering where we were going with that.
Betcha.
And GSM times 2 is driving 256 miles. That's 5.5 hours, depending on traffic, to get 9 enhancements or add-ons.
5.5
Oh my
hours.
Gosh.
5.5 hours is just a commute to Seattle and back.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends where you're driving.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. Well, that is some
There's
pretty
no way that's
dedicated-
256 miles. That's like, 35 miles here.
That's some pretty dedicated geocaching
He's
experience.
going to get honey badges.
Funny. All right. Well, what do you think, guys?
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.